You're probably thinking about buying a house right now and you've heard the phrases pre-approval, pre-qualified being thrown around and you don't know the difference between the two. Well, in this video, we're gonna be covering that here today. For the best real estate advice, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every Thursday.
Hi there.
Hey, what's up? I'm Andrew Castelo with Keller Williams Realty here in Sacramento, California. And today we're going to be talking about the difference of a pre-approval and being pre-approved and pre-qualified. And I have a special guest here with me again today, and we have Mr. Antonio Lopez. Why don't you introduce yourself, Antonio?
Thank you, Andrew. Again, my name's Antonio Lopez. I'm with Movement Mortgage. Born and raised here in Sacramento, and have been doing loans for over 12 years.
Well, Antonio, let's go ahead and jump right into it. What is a pre-approval?
All right, that's a great question. So pre-approval, that's really what you want in order to start shopping when you're looking to buy a house.
Okay.
A pre-approval means that you've provided all the financial documents that we as lenders request of you. So primarily that's going to be your W-2s and tax returns if you're an employee, just your tax returns if you're self-employed. We'll also look at your last 30 days of your pay stubs, last 60 days of your assets, bank statements, retirement accounts, things like that, and then of course your IDs and so forth. But with that information, we get you fully pre-approved. And when you're pre-approved, we know exactly what you can qualify for. We know the loan program that's going to suit you and your family best. And you know exactly what the dollar amount is per month you'll be paying and the closing costs.
What is pre-qualified?
Pre-qualified, so that's going to be a little different than pre-approval. Pre-qualified is just a real generic conversation. That's when we address the three ingredients in getting anyone qualified for a loan. That's going to be their cash, their credit, and their income. But it's just a very basic, rough conversation. It's like, hey, I've got $10,000 to put down. My credit scores are good, they're around 700, and I make $60,000 a year. So with that, I can guesstimate based on what they're telling me, maybe they can go to 285 to 300, really basic. So pre-qualification doesn't really mean anything, and it's not what's required when you're actually out shopping for a home and you actually want to submit an offer for a property.
In this situation, if that's all that you have, a pre-qualification, and you're taking that to go put an offer on a home, it's not necessarily the most accurate for that buyer situation.
That's correct. You owe it to yourself. Look, this is the biggest financial decision of your life, right? You should know exactly what you're going into, because oftentimes it's going to cost you more than you initially think with inspections, repairs, and not to mention moving costs and so forth. So pre-approval is what you want. You want to know exactly what you can do, what loan program you're going to go in, and that you can actually deliver on the financing when you find that home. Pre-qualification is easy if you want to just get the process started to get an idea of the range of homes.
I see.
I'm going to look between 350 and 500 or 400 and 600. That way you kind of have an idea. Okay, am I even in that range? But pre-approval, you're really going to nail it down, and you're going to be basing that off of current interest rate.
Pre-approval is more of an accurate assessment of what the financial situation is for that particular buyer. So that's what you want to have before going in, putting any offers in, because not much is really going to change with that
That's exactly right, yeah.
Okay. Well, Antonio, why don't you give us an example or some situations that have happened for clients of yours when they got the pre-approval done, and why is that really important?
Yeah, so one of the real benefits of working with Movement Mortgage is we can have our underwriters review the files up front. So not only do you get an approval from me after reviewing your financial documents, but we can actually send it into underwriting. And the benefit there is that you know exactly the dollar amount that you can be pre-approved for. I've had circumstances where clients have gotten pre-approved or pre-qualified with other lenders, and when they come to me, their numbers are different. Either we're able to use a little bit more income than the other place was, or sometimes they're trying to use income that we're not going to be able to use, and so they may be shopping in the wrong price point. And the last thing we want is have them money, coming out of pocket on a home that they can't buy or they can't afford. So getting pre-approved, it's just well worth it. It's just worth your time, and it only takes another day or so to make sure that you can actually deliver on that home, and it's okay to fall in love with it.
I see. Yeah, because I've had situations before with client got a pre-approval, or I always mess these two up, pre-qualified, and the person at the bank, or it's typically banks where this happens, they say, yeah, you're good for this amount. We get into contract into the escrow on a house that they really like, and the next thing you know, a couple weeks into it, they don't qualify because
there's a problem.
There's a problem that comes up because they didn't run all their information through their system to make sure that it would actually work. Next thing you know, your deposit is at risk, you're at risk of losing that house, and it's just a big mess. So you want to make sure
it's emotional, your hopes are up.
Absolutely.
It's no fun.
Yeah, so you want to get this done ahead of time, so that way when you do fall in love with something, you know, hey, we can make this happen and close on it.
Right. That way, at that point, all you're doing is qualifying the house. Make sure the house appraises, make sure the home is sound, and the inspections go smoothly. But right there, you know that you're a strong buyer.
Well, let's talk about then when you have one of these letters right here, and with your company, what would that do for that buyer? Like how would that make that buyer look in a aggressive market?
Yeah, well, right now we're definitely in a competitive market. We're in the summer of 2019. There are not as many homes available on the market, so when one hits, there's a lot of people who want to jump on it right away. One of the benefits that we have over at Movement Mortgage is we have something called an MBA. That's the Movement Buyer Advantage. And the advantage that buyer gets is that we're going to underwrite that file in advance. So before you actually start shopping and submitting offers, I'm going to review your W-2s, bank statements, pay stubs, and tax returns. We will get that in front of one of our underwriters, and within 24 hours, they will issue a pre-approval letter. That is a really strong pre-approval letter because the way it's written, it tells the listing agent that this file's already been underwritten by a human underwriter, not just a desktop underwriter or a computer underwriter. So that's the value, and with that, we can often close in 15 days or less because all we need to do is the appraisal at that point. The buyer's already been pre-approved.
So it's almost like a cash offer, if you will, which if you know anything about markets where there's a lot of cash offers, sellers tend to lean towards those ones because of that they're non-contingent a lot of times when they're purchasing the home.
Faster closings,
which that might not be important, that might be important, but it's at least nice to know, hey, we can close in less than 30 days. So if you are up against other offers that have the same purchase price as you, but you can close a lot faster, well, and you're already underwritten, then it makes your offer look a lot stronger.
It's a competitive advantage, and where our value lies is not only consulting you on the ins and outs of buying a home, but getting your offer accepted. We've been in business a long time, we're local, we know the agents, and with that comes a reputation. So when we deliver an offer and we know we can stand behind it, that's really important. And when they know that the buyer's been fully underwritten, they can deliver that news and information to their seller with confidence that this is a deal that will close. And that's a win-win for everybody.
Let's give a little tip here for sellers, because I know a lot of times sellers are looking at multiple offers to get pre-quals, pre-approvals, and things like that. What are some things that they can ask their agent about that particular buyer for them to make sure, hey, this is a solid person that they're dealing with for their house?
I always make it a practice as the lender to call the listing agent to introduce myself. So that's one of the things that the sellers can really look into, is they can qualify that lender, not only that buyer and that offer, but that buyer's agent. So when you present an offer, it should be a typed, clean offer where, Andrew's made the phone call to the listing agent in advance. I then call the listing agent. They can let the sellers know that this is a buyer who's serious and can close quickly. And that's the advantage of what we can do as a team. Communication
is really key, and it's better to over communicate, especially with the other side, because I know in our business there's a lot of people who don't communicate, and they all of a sudden they can't be found once their offer is accepted. But there's so much working parts that are involved with being able to close on a home that it's really important to have all lines of communication open, because in the end, we want to get the house sold, we want our clients to be happy, and the way to do that is to communicate through the entire process.
Absolutely.
Well, Antonio, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this. We've, again, discussed what the difference is between a pre-qualification and pre-approval, threw in some awesome tips right over there to help buyers and sellers. If you guys want to ask any questions to myself or Antonio, I'm going to leave Antonio's contact information in the description below. And if you found this video to be helpful, please make sure you hit the like button and consider subscribing. I do weekly real estate videos with tips and tricks that can help you throughout your buying and selling process. Also, information about Sacramento here locally. So thanks again, and I hope to see you guys soon.